Three-time Lakeside champion Glenn Durant was crying by himself in hotel rooms a few months after winning the Premier League trophy. Adrian Lewis, the two-time world champion, endured silent suffering while his wife's kidney condition affected every throw. Luke Humphries nearly gave up after suffering from incapacitating panic attacks before winning the 2024 Worlds. And now, with diabetes and one blind eye, Jamie Caven dedicates his life to mentoring the next generation. These are survival stories rather than merely professions. Join us as we reveal the unseen struggles behind the greatest dart stars by subscribing now. Back in 2020, Glenn Durant was supposed to be living the dream. A three-time Lakeside world champion, now with his first big PDC trophy in his hands, the Premier League title. For most players, that would be the high point of their career. For Glenn, it was the start of something far darker. There he was, a world champion sitting alone in a bland hotel room in Milton Keynes, tears rolling down his face after another crushing defeat. This wasn't the man who had ruled the BDO. This was someone watching everything he'd built start to fall apart. "I was going back to the hotel crying," Glenn admitted in one brutally honest interview. "I was like, geez, I'm 51, I've won everything I ever wanted to, and here I am." COVID had taken away the roaring crowds that lifted him, leaving him exposed in echoing empty venues. And the truth? He feared his Premier League win was a fluke, kept alive only by Gary Anderson's bizarre choice to use knobbly-ended darts in their semi-final. But after rock bottom, averaging just 60 at times, and finally retiring, Glenn found a new path, as a coach and commentator, turning his pain into purpose. Adrian Lewis was darts royalty, a two-time world champion with ice in his veins and tungsten magic in his fingers. To fans, he was untouchable, but behind that confident swagger was a reality that almost broke him. While he was jetting around the world, throwing for millions, his wife, Sarah, was fighting a battle he couldn't help her win. In 2015, she was diagnosed with kidney disease. Doctors warned that by the time she turned 40, she'd be in and out of the hospital constantly. "We're not robots," Lewis admitted in a rare, raw interview. The biggest challenge has been family illness going on away from darts, which people don't know about. Every time he boarded a plane to another tournament, he carried the crushing thought that Sarah's condition could worsen while he was gone. Every missed double on the oche felt heavier, weighed down by a sense of guilt. "Sarah's going through it, but to watch her go through it takes a lot out of you mentally," he said.
And she's got global delay as well. So obviously I had to put this on, on the back burner. I had no choice to do that because my mind wasn't actually at darts. And I've said that for a long time.
For me, darts is a mental game. Sometimes, if you can't get your head right, it's difficult. This wasn't a story of lost talent, it was a story of love. The kind of love that pulled him away from the game he once dominated. In a sport built on bravado, Lewis's honesty broke the silence, giving other players the courage to share their struggles. Sometimes the most shocking truth is simply the human truth we try to hide. Dimitri van der Berg broke into darts like a firework, young, fearless and full of flair. At just 26, he lifted the 2020 World Match Play trophy, dancing into the hearts of fans around the globe. But then, almost without warning, he was gone. In April 2025, van der Berg stunned everyone by announcing an indefinite break from the sport. Not because of injury, not because of a slump, but to focus on his health and well-being. For a player at his peak, this was unheard of. Rumours swirled instantly. Some whispered about off-stage issues, others point to his unpredictable recent performances. But when he finally spoke out, the truth was more human and more relatable.
This is me being back managing my career, because full-time professional is just not good for my family. I've got a second kid coming on next month, so me and my manager, me and my sponsors, we already know what's going to go down.
"I was feeling terrible with myself, with my body and with my mental health," he revealed after making his comeback at the World Cup of Darts. The energy, the dancing, it had often been a mask, hiding battles with anxiety and crushing pressure. But here's the twist. His break wasn't him quitting, it was him rebuilding. He worked with sports psychologists, rebuilt his mental strength, and returned, but not to the full grind of pro darts. "It's not good for my family," he said, drawing his line in the sand. In a sport where the tour never stops, Van den Berg showed that stepping back isn't weakness, it's courage. And in doing so, he's changing the way future stars will define success. Michael Smith's story hits harder than most because it's still unfolding in front of our eyes. Back in January 3rd, 2023, he was living the dream, lifting the PDC World Championship trophy after the now iconic 9-darter leg against Michael van Gerwen.
The Kazoo World Darts Champion, ladies and gentlemen, the bully boy, Michael Smith!
Overnight, he silenced every critic who ever doubted him. He had reached the very peak of darts. But fast forward to mid-2025, and it's almost unrecognisable. His ranking has nosedived outside the world's elite, his confidence is shot, and fans are left wondering, what happened? The truth is brutal. Winning didn't set him free, it trapped him. Every game after that title felt like he was defending his entire worth. Each early exit wasn't just a loss, it was another headline about Bully Boy's decline. And then came the body blows. In late 2023, arthritis in his throwing hand started to bite, forcing changes in grip and training. In spring 2024, a freak e-scooter accident tore into his throwing shoulder, causing months of rehab. In a sport where millimeters matter, these injuries weren't inconveniences, they were disasters. Mentally, it's been just as punishing. Smith has spoken candidly since late 2024 about anxiety and depression, even seeking professional help to cope with the pressure and the fear of fading away. On stage, the swagger is gone, replaced by grimaces and visible frustration. Michael Smith's greatest act of courage isn't winning, it's stepping on stage even when everything is falling apart. Luke Humphries' road to becoming 2024 world champion looks like a fairy tale now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Guan Luke Humphries!
But rewind to 2019 and he was on the verge of quitting darts completely. It happened in the middle of a German Open match. 1 second he was fine, the next he froze, gripped by a panic attack so intense he thought something was seriously wrong. "It was my darkest moment, and I seriously considered quitting the sport I love," he told Sky Sports. At the time, he didn't know if he'd ever feel normal again. The fear stuck with him. Night after night, he convinced himself he was about to have a heart attack. On stage, he was forcing himself to breathe just to keep going. Travelling to tournaments became a nightmare. But instead of walking away, Luke faced it head on. During lockdown, he lost weight, completely changed his diet, and leaned on friends and family to rebuild his confidence. Step by step, the fear loosened its grip. By 2022, he was winning again. And then came January 3rd, 2024. The night he beat Luke Littler to lift the Sid Waddle Trophy.
The ascension is complete! Luke Humphries is the greatest darting force on the planet right now!
A victory sweeter than anyone knew, because just 5 years earlier, he'd nearly given it all up. Jamie Caven's journey sounds like something you'd see in a movie, only it's real. At 18 months old, a bee sting took the sight in his right eye. At 20, surgeons removed his pancreas after finding it riddled with tumours. Oh, and that surgery left him diabetic for life. Most would have accepted the odds and moved on, but Caven didn't just keep playing, he thrived. His unique throwing style? "I don't see anything until it hits the board," he admits. It's all muscle memory. He went on to win 7 PDC Tour events and qualify for 10 World Championships. And yet, his most meaningful chapter might be happening now. Away from the pro circuit, Caven runs the Jamie Caven's Dart Academy.
And Derby's Jamie Caven is proving there's a whole new generation of players jumping on board,
helping young players improve their math skills, confidence and discipline through darts. For him, the disabilities were never the story. You have to play with the hand you're dealt, he says. The shocking truth here isn't just about resilience, It's about redefining what's possible when you refuse to let your circumstances define you. Caven didn't just survive the game, he's using it to change lives. These athletes carried battles that the public was blind to, such as grief, illness, anxiety, injury, and the burden of being human through every standing ovation and trophy lift. Their experiences serve as a reminder that there is a tale of strength, sacrifice, and survival behind every dart thrown. They battled for themselves as much as for titles, and in doing so, they've motivated innumerable others to persevere despite all obstacles. Click subscribe right now to get closer to the game behind the game and discover more untold stories from the heart of darts, the unvarnished realities that never make the news.